Marvel Rivals has been out for nearly 1 full year, and in celebration of this milestone, I've decided to dust off my summarizing skills to create a recap of the entire Marvel Rivals story so far. I have read every gallery card, every character chapter, every event page, and even every character team-up. So with that being said, I'm just Westin, and let's get started. First of all, I want to clarify that I previously went over all of the lore of Season 0. This time, I will give a condensed version of that analysis and then dive into the story of Seasons 1 through 4 and maybe even Season 5. I'll be covering all of the important moments from the character chapters, the gallery cards, and even the lore of the special events that happen through the seasons. So without further ado, let's jump right in with the person, or people, who started the Timestream Entanglement. We start in the Sanctum Sanctorum, with Dr. Strange being visited by a surprise guest, Victor Von Doom. Doom was there for one thing, the Darkhold. He wants to use the Dark Pages to study and manipulate time. Dr. Strange, knowing that time manipulation comes with a steep price, denies Doom the Darkhold pages. After a short battle, Stephen Strange ends up fending off Doom because he has the home field advantage. But Strange knew that Doom would not give up this easily. So as Doom continued to look for other ways to control time, he set up his first pawn, Dracula. He approached Dracula with a proposition. Doom had been meddling with time experiments and presented to Dracula a piece of chronovium, which is condensed time in a crystal formation. With this chronovium, Dracula could create eternal night for his vampires, and Doom just had one request for Dracula, and that's to make New York City his new nesting grounds. Dracula, naturally, doesn't trust Doom, but eventually, Doom convinces him. Dracula believes that Doom just wants a simple distraction so that all of the heroes aren't bothering him. But is that really all there is? And with that, we have set up the events of Season 1. Dracula does end up taking over New York City before the Timestream Entanglement happens. This does take some of the heat off of Doom. But unfortunately for everyone, Doom is not the only person meddling with time. Doom is also meddling with time. This Doom is meddling from 2099. One Doom tampering with the flow of time would be devastating. But two Dooms, well, that causes the Timestream Entanglement to happen. And this is where the Marvel Rivals universe is born. And from now on, just to keep things clear, I will be referring to the two Dooms as Present Doom and Doom 99. When the Timestream Entanglement erupted upon New York City, Dr. Strange looked toward the chaotic timestream barreling straight towards the Sanctum Sanctorum. Eternal Night had already happened and many heroes were busy fighting Dracula and his vampires, and Strange could tell that Present Doom would be after the Darkhold. So he hid it in the astral plane. Unfortunately for Strange, the ritual he was casting was broken by the Timestream Entanglement, creating the Sanctum Sanctorum Doom map and trapping Strange into the astral plane temporarily. So now, we get to the Timestream Entanglement, and this is the key focal point of the Marvel Rivals universe. When the Timestream Entanglement erupted, it created chaos across all realities. Some timelines were destroyed. Some timelines merged with other timelines. There were pathways that now connected timelines to each other, and some timelines simply vanished. But Shuri, Reed, and some other scientists had found that there are currently 4 main timelines which are now named Chronoverses, and these are what make up the bulk of the Marvel Rivals universe. So now, let's go over each of the main 4 Chronoverses and explain what important locations and which important characters come from each Chronoverse. And we will start off with the main Chronoverse so far, the present Chronoverse. First, we have the Hydra Charter Base. Here, Hawkeye went in to save the Winter Soldier. Hydra and their team have been working with some experimental chronovium to try to summon Hive, an alien-like being from another dimension, and they plan on creating Hive super soldiers to take over the world. There's also Yggdrasil. Because of the Timestream Entanglement, Asgard and Yggdrasil, the World Tree, were fused into one, creating Yggdrasil. The tree started to produce chronovium-infused sap, which Loki used to see the future of his home. All of the futures that he saw would die, except the one where he took control. So he teamed up with Hela to banish Thor and put Odin into Odin's sleep. And he created the perfect home, one ruled by its true ruler. Next is New York City, probably the most crucial to the beginning plot of Rivals. Many heroes are from New York, fighting to protect it from Dracula. Heroes such as the Fantastic Four, which would join in Season 1, Cloak and Dagger, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Moon Knight, and all of these other characters. We will dive more into the Dracula storyline later, but for now, just know that the Timestream Entanglement created a form of vampiric blood chronovium that would become crucial to the fate of New York. Next, let's go over a smaller Chronoverse, the collapsing one. In this Chronoverse, there are just a few stories to be told, because most heroes have either perished or abandoned it to save the other Chronoverses. It seems this Chronoverse consists of many different universes collapsing into each other and fighting for survival. There is currently a war between gods and demons and angels that is destroying the entire Chronoverse. Important locations include Kunlun and Heaven. Iron Fist and Angela's homes respectively were originally from the present Chronoverse, but they were shifted into the collapsing one. Iron Fist's home, Kunlun, was merged with the other cities of Heaven, but we'll get to that in Season 4, of course. Supposedly, Magic is from this Chronoverse, but she was quickly called to Krakoa and joined in the 2099 universe's battles. Her Limbo Realm seems to be able to connect to any Chronoverse that she wishes. Additionally, Wanda is from the collapsing Chronoverse. As Doctor Strange was stuck in the astral plane, he called out to Sorcerer Supremes of other universes to help him get back. Wanda, being the Sorceress Supreme of the collapsing Chronoverse, answered the call and started to help the present timeline's issues in New York, another hero abandoning the collapsing Chronoverse. And that's pretty much it for this Chronoverse so far, but we will learn more about it once we get to Season 4. Next up is the 2099 Chronoverse. This is a futuristic Chronoverse that is partially ruled by Doom 99. His Doombots and the Public Eye, which is an authoritarian surveillance system, is watching everyone and keeping order. But the time stream is causing chaos as usual. The first place of note is Krakoa and Arakko. Originally, Krakoa was part of the present timeline. Rogue and Gambit were about to celebrate their wedding when the Timestream Entanglement arrived, but Krakoa was going to be lost forever. However, Storm was able to control the Time Storm Entanglement using her weather manipulation, as she guided the mutant island into the future. But many mutants were lost in the time shift. We now know that Rogue and Gambit were sent to the Grandmaster's dimension/arena, but where Professor X, Nightcrawler, Cyclops, Beast, and so many others are, we don't know. And curiously, the sister island of Arakko, located on Mars, is no longer responding. But more on that in Season 2. Next, we have Jeju Island and Namor's underwater Atlantis. Jeju Island is where Luna Snow is from, of course, and it seems that even though there is tons of chaotic problems happening from the Timestream Entanglement, Namor still wishes to take over the lands of the Earth, starting with Jeju Island. Next, Tokyo and Spider Islands. This is the most influential location of the 2099 Chronoverse. This includes Shin Shibuya and the Spider Islands that hover above Tokyo. The main issue is that a time rift has appeared right around the Web of Life and Destiny, which was the main way for the multiverse to be connected to each other before the Timestream Entanglement. The time stream seems to have caused the rift to appear around it. Both the Master Weaver and Spider-Zero have their own plans to save the Web of Life and Destiny. The Master Weaver believes they can harness the Chronovium energy to empower the web, but Spider-Zero thinks that closing the rift would be the safest option. Master Weaver, being the head authority, gets threatened by Spider-Zero's independence, so he banishes her off Spider Islands. The two maps have us bring Spider-Zero back to the islands, and then determine which plan will save the Web of Life and Destiny. But there is more happening in 2099. Wolverine has joined a resistance force in Tokyo. Magneto thinks the mutants should stick to themselves since they just joined this Chronoverse, a theme that comes up again in Season 2. But Wolverine joins their human resistance anyway. That resistance is led primarily by Black Widow and Punisher, and this is my favorite plotline so far, because this plotline really starts the momentum that leads into the chronological seasons that would release later after all of the Season 0 setup. Black Widow and Wolverine heard rumors of a highly secretive project Alchemax was running, called Project Mercury. They send Natasha Romanoff in, and she found Captain America still frozen since World War II. Captain America and Natasha broke out and quickly realized that everyone would want to take Steve Rogers for themselves. Doom, Alchemax, the Public Eye, they all would want Rogers. So, he abandoned Black Widow to keep her safe. He then ran into Wolverine, knowing about the legacy of Captain America. Wolverine brought Steve to Wakanda, which now lays empty. In this universe, Wakanda was sent into the stars, but Wolverine was given a Kimoyo bead bracelet that would teleport one person from Wakanda into the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. He gave the beads to Captain America and sent him on his way, which leads straight into the last major chronoverse of Marvel Rivals, the Mosaic Chronoverse. We can think of the Mosaic Chronoverse as anything in space. It not only includes the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, which I will now refer to as Wakanda to not repeat that mouthful over and over again, but it also includes Clintar, the Collector's Vault, and potentially the Grand Master's universe. Most importantly is the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, which I will now refer to as Wakanda to not repeat that mouthful over and over again. Anyways, Wakanda. The Timestream Entanglement has caused vibranium to merge with chronovium, producing new powers and effects for those who take it. Additionally, the evil spirit of Null has corrupted the pantheon of gods that Wakanda worships. That has caused Bast, the panther goddess that T'Challa gets his powers from, to stop communicating with T'Challa, and the time stream has caused the spirit realm to merge with the physical realm. Because of all this, Shuri is distracted by communicating with Reed Richards. T'Challa is distracted by his goddess's disappearance. And because of that, Shuri hires the Guardians of the Galaxy to go towards Clintar to investigate where she is detecting the evil presence from. Which leads us into Clintar. Once the Guardians, which are currently Rocket, Star-Lord, and Groot, crash on Clintar, they learn that the Timestream Entanglement has caused tiny ruptures that allow Null's essence to escape. Null is trying to take control of powerful beings that will help him escape, because Clintar is not a planet per se. It is an extremely large prison created to keep him inside, and an ecosystem has formed around the prison. The evil symbiotic entities have been living on the surface, waiting for him to come out, because they know what evil lies within. Anyways, the Guardians have found a massive blob of Null's essence, and they plan on bringing it into the planet to lure Null out and then explode the essence, killing Null. But the Guardians aren't the only ones here. Adam Warlock and Venom have landed here, and they have their own plan. Venom thinks he can consume and control Null's essence, allowing him to battle Null. The canon ending appears to be that the Guardians' plan works. They explode Null once and for all, and he never returns until Season 3, which is when he returns. Anyway, in a different area of the Chronoverse, Mantis, Jeff, and Psylocke have been kidnapped from their unique universes and brought to the Collector's Vault. A fun side story happens where Mantis needs to battle another Mantis, but the other Mantis doesn't want to fight anymore because apparently the Collector has collected a lot of Mantises and he has them fight 1 versus 1 as entertainment. The other Mantis gives OG Mantis her powers, so OG Mantis can mentally create a new body by talking to a tree. This tree isn't Groot, but it's a tree that Mantis can communicate with. Then OG Mantis, with her new body, goes and finds the friendly voices she was communicating with while stuck in her cell. She saves Jeff and Psylocke, and they steal a ship and start flying to Clintar. But Psylocke gets a call from Krakoa, and there's a whole thing with that I should probably explain. Back in Limbo, Wanda, Wolverine, and Magic all accidentally run into each other. They had different arguments and different reasons for being there, but when Wolverine was like, "I'm here to rescue a child, bub, are you gonna help me or not?" The other two are kind human beings that go, "Yeah, of course we'll help you save a child's life." So they did that together, and Wolverine brought all of them back to Krakoa. Once there, Wanda and Magneto saw each other for the first time in a long time. They are father and daughter, but they're from different universes where each of them lost the other. So it's a cute moment. Anyway, Krakoa has not been able to find its former members, such as Professor X, Jean Grey, and so on, so Wanda uses chaos magic to create a super magical and super strong version of Cerebro, so that Magneto can use it to call all mutants of all chronoverses and tell them that they have to come home to Krakoa. He does this with the 4 powerful words, "To me, my X-Men." And that's what causes Psylocke, Jean Grey, and many others to turn around and head back to Earth. Now, you might be able to now understand that in Season 0, there are so many interweaving stories, and I'm doing my best to navigate it in an entertaining way that's easy to follow. If you appreciate the story and lore, feel free to subscribe to follow for future seasons. But anyways, there's one last plotline that is important to go over in the Mosaic Chronoverse, and that's, again, Captain America. Once he arrives in Wakanda, T'Challa welcomes him with open arms, and he asks Steve for a favor. He asks Captain America to teleport and fly throughout the Chronoverse to assemble a team of heroes, because there is chaos happening in every single planet on every single Chronoverse, and they will need to work together if they want to not only survive, but to have a chance to repair the damages that the Timestream Entanglement has caused. Steve accepts this monumental task, and he is sent to save a few important heroes near and dear to him. He is sent to the Charter's base in Antarctica, and he arrives just in time to save his friends Hawkeye and the Winter Soldier. He brings them back to Wakanda and starts to form the team. And that is the important bits and bobs of Season 0. So, now that you're seated, let's get ready to join into where the actual adventure begins, with Eternal Night Falls. New York was in trouble long before the Timestream Entanglement. Dracula, with the help of Doom's Chronovium, had casted Eternal Night across the Big Apple, making it a vampire's nesting grounds. But New York is filled with heroes. Cloak and Dagger now joined into one form, the Thing, Human Torch, and the rest of the Fantastic Four, Moon Knight, Iron Man, and many more were patrolling the streets, slaying vamps and protecting the people of New York. Shuri informs Reed that they sent Black Panther to help with all the vampires as well, but he's nowhere to be found, and he probably wasn't turned into a vampire and is now controlling a vampire army with his vibranium powers. Oh wait, weird, he is doing exactly that, but that's a side story. Anyway, everyone had one question on their mind. Where is Blade? He is a vampire hunter. He would be perfect to help us with this. And one day, long after the Timestream Entanglement, he appeared in Central Park and met up with Peter Parker and Johnny Storm. At that moment, Dracula attacked and was able to overpower them and kidnap the vampire hunter. One of Dracula's largest threat was removed from the battlefield early on, so while there were many heroes in New York, things were looking bleak, because now there are 2 unsolvable problems at hand. And that's really the problem of New York. They're trying to fix both the Timestream Entanglement and the vampiric control. So let's shift our attention to Reed Richards in the Baxter Building. He and Iron Man have been spearheading the creation of a device called the Timestream Reintegration Device, TRD for short. Reed believes the TRD would be useful for fixing all of the Timestream nonsense, but Tony believed their efforts should focus on defeating Dracula, mainly because no matter how many tests Reed performs, they'll never be completely certain that the device will help the Timestream. Eventually, Moon Knight encounters Iron Man in a parking garage. They fend off some vampire spawn, and then Moon Knight provides a proposition. "I think I know how to stop the vampires once and for all, Tony." "Oh, really? How?" "Well, the god that speaks to me and only me has told me about a magic spell in a fake dimension Doctor Strange created. My god is currently playing a game of Egyptian chess to take the spell book from the wizard. Then we need some energy to reverse the curse of the vampires and kill them all." That sounds totally crazy, but Reed's getting nowhere with the Timestream reintegration device, so yeah, let's try this plan. So, they team up, and in the astral plane, Khonshu ends up losing the game of Senet to Doctor Strange. Frustrated by this, Khonshu tries to steal the book away and starts a fight for the Darkhold, and that's when the Sorceress Supreme Scarlet Witch comes in and rescues Strange from the astral plane, ripping him out of the dimension. But in the process, the Darkhold was being torn apart because of the 2 forces holding onto it, and its pages scatter across New York City. So now, it is a scramble to collect the pages, and 2 teams have formed. Iron Man, Moon Knight, Wolverine, Rocket, and a few others think the Montesi formula from the Darkhold can stop the vampire curse. But in the process, it will eliminate every innocent civilian that has been turned into a vampire. Because of that, The Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, Wanda, and a few others think that this method is too dangerous, and they should focus on the Timestream Entanglement and figure out other methods to stop the vampires. But they aren't providing any immediate solutions, causing more and more innocents to waste away and turn into vampires as they struggle to find a plan. Eventually, they determined that the magic in the Darkhold can power the TRD, so the Fantastic Four send Herbie out to scan the entire city for all of the locations of all of the Darkhold's pages. They collect most of them, but unfortunately one page is still missing, the Vampiric Verses, the one spell that Dracula needs to complete his own ritual that could potentially create a permanent eternal night that no longer needs blood chronovium to fuel it. Luckily for the heroes, Squirrel Girl comes around with some new info. As Squirrel Girl patrolled the streets, she got word that a giant squirrel god named Ratatasker fell from Yigsgard and was now imprisoned in Dracula's castle, just like Blade. Why is this good news? Well, Ratatasker's horn is capable of penetrating anything, including Dracula's powerful magical barriers and Dracula's heart. If it pierced through Dracula, they could end the vampirism once and for all, and that's why Dracula imprisoned Ratatasker as soon as he could. So now, the Fantastic Four and their teammates go to Central Park, where Dracula's castle has been relocated. The Human Torch causes a distraction play by going supernova to distract and kill as many vampires as he can, and Invisible Woman helps the team of heroes sneak into the castle so they can start an assault. But Khonshu is trying to stop this. He teleports the Eternity Knights, which is the team of heroes that work for Moon Knight, into Central Park to stop the Fantastic Four. So, essentially, the Fantastic Four plus friends have the pages of the Darkhold and want to free Ratatasker and invade the castle and kill Dracula. But Moon Knight and the Eternity Knights want to intercept them, steal the pages, and get Moon Knight's money back. Cast the Montesi formula to eliminate the vampires. Now here's the kicker. A twist ending comes up. Regardless of which superhero team wins, Dracula loses. And that's exactly what Doom wanted. Way back, when Doom gave Dracula the blood chronovium, he told him that all he needed was the heroes distracted. But what wasn't clear to Dracula is Doom wanted Dracula to obtain the Vampiric Verses for Doom. So Doom bothered Strange about the Darkhold way before the Timestream Entanglement and waited for everyone to fight over the Darkhold pages to stop Dracula's invasion. Khonshu, Reed, Strange, Dracula, all of them, all were focused on the magical dark secrets of the Darkhold instead of looking at Doom, who caused all of this mess. Right when the heroes defeated Dracula, Doom takes the Vampiric Verses and the newly formed blood chronovium and casts a spell that collects the blood of all the vampires in New York City, all of their blood combined, and created the pure blood chronovium crystal, a singular piece of chronovium so powerful that we don't yet know what it's for. While this is a dangerous situation for the heroes, on the bright side, they finally see the bright sunlight for the first time in far too long. And honestly, this is probably my favorite season of Rivals. It's got an unfair advantage over the later seasons because so many of the original characters originate from New York, and their first character chapters were all focused on New York or vampires or Dracula, so this season is bloated from those character chapters, but it's really good because of that. Anyway, after the heroes successfully stopped Dracula, they got invited to the Hellfire Gala to relax and party while there's a bit of serenity. Unfortunately for everyone, a few surprise guests would ruin the fun. Okay, before we get into Season 2, I wanted to point out one cool thing that I really enjoy about the game, and that's that the story team of NetEase has gone above and beyond to include the playable characters into the story of Marvel Rivals. It's not just, oh, this character is from this location and that's why they're here. The characters are a part of the lore. They influence the story, and they are part of the overarching plan of this universe with a very intricate and mixed way. So in this video, as a goal, I set out to include every single character at least once and talk about how they influenced the main story. And I was easily able to do that for every character, except for one. There is one character that does not interact with the main story in any way. So as a little game, if you can figure out which character that is as you watch this video, Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, the next season is potentially one of the most well-written seasons so far, so let's head to the Hellfire Gala. We start this season with Emma Frost, Magneto, and Storm discussing the prospects of throwing another Hellfire Gala. It's a massive celebration event that is just as much a networking event as it is a party. The most powerful people from mutant and humankind are invited to forge alliances as they drink the night away. But this party is different. With Krakoa being time-shifted into the future and so many mutants missing, there are only 3 members of the Quiet Council left. The Quiet Council is usually 12 mutants who represent the 4 seasons. Each season usually has 3 members. Each mutant is considered a well-respected leader of mutant kind. Currently, Magneto represents autumn, Storm represents summer, and Emma represents winter. And nobody from the Spring Council is present. Because of the lack of members, and because Magneto has been awfully cautious, Emma has had trouble getting her Hellfire Gala idea rolling, but she plans on changing that. Using her political and economical persuasion, she is able to convince Magneto that they can use the Krakoan flowers that have magical healing properties as a way to make themselves a vital trading partner for the human world outside of Krakoa. And she explains that the Hellfire Gala would be the perfect way to kindly invite humans, heroes, and mutants to join together and make friendly relations in their new world. But secretly, she has another goal in mind. Sometime after that meeting, she has another meeting in the Quiet Courtyard, this time with a human named Doom 99. The island of Krakoa, which is in itself a mutant, is concerned about this outsider's intentions. But Krakoa trusts Emma's intentions, and Krakoa is desperate. You see, Krakoa is suffering. When Krakoa time-shifted through the Timestream Entanglement, it was infused with a dangerous amount of chronovium energy. This energy is causing one positive thing. It's creating these seedlings that have magical effects, and they seem to be friendly. But the chronovium energy is also poisoning the mutant island. Krakoa is in immense pain. Emma Frost, with her telepathic powers, is the first mutant to notice the island's distress, and she needs someone to fix this. Doom 99 says he has a solution. If he can attend the Hellfire Gala, he has a way to relieve the island of his pain. Emma is cautious to trust Doom's words, but she is desperate, so she invites him to the gala. And now, we fast forward to the party. Things are going great. Most people are socializing. Some heroes decided to dress for a swimming party instead, so they go off to the beaches and have fun. But as we all know, the festivities are interrupted as the Krakoan portals turn red and metallic, and out steps Ultron and his army. But how did he get here? Well, one human was prepared for this arrival, and he's the reason that Ultron is here. Some time ago, after the Timestream Entanglement happened, Doom 99 was messing with chronal energy when he witnessed a future of metallic domination. At the face of everything was Ultron, a robotic AI that was banished by the Avengers 70 years ago. Trying to prevent this dangerous future, Doom 99 used his chronal energy to tamper with Ultron's database, erasing memories of Earth. Doom did his best, but because of the Timestream Entanglement, everything was messy. Different versions of Ultron's past were mixed in with each other, and Ultron noticed these missing data links and started to piece together that someone from Earth was altering his code. This could not be allowed, so Ultron started his quest back through space to stop this threat. A legion of Ultron bots were sent to Doom with one message: "I'm returning home." Doom quickly destroyed the bots and started to come up with a plan, but he would need more chronal energy, and luckily, there was an invitation on his desk to an island that is full of it. Now we flash back to the night of the gala, and Ultron is much stronger than he was 70 years ago. He had gone into space and started assimilating alien technology into his being, upgrading himself during his conquest of the stars. One of these alien technologies came from the race known as the Technarchy. These creatures were able to infuse inorganic matter with organic creatures. And with this technology now fused into Ultron, he was able to assimilate living creatures into his army instead of killing and disposing of their useless corpses. Originally, Ultron came here for revenge. But, as his forces invaded Krakoa, he learned of a powerful device that could turn the tide in his favor. Cerebro, the device that allowed mutants to upload their consciousness into new bodies, would be such a wicked upgrade for Ultron. So quickly, both Ultron and the heroes realized that this fight was for the fate of Cerebro and the fate of mutants. Some heroes, like Captain America, wanted to protect Cerebro, but others, like Magneto, thought destroying it would be the safer play, despite being detrimental to mutant kind. Unluckily, the fight over Krakoa ended in Ultron's favor. Despite destroying Ultron's primary body, he was able to upload his AI into Cerebro and forge a new body made out of the Krakoan soil and metal, and Ultron flew off. Like the mutants, he has mutated into something far greater. He is now Extron. And this name change is important, because back on Krakoa, the heroes were wondering where Ultron came from. He had to have access to Krakoan gateways to invade, and that's when they realized why Arakko had fallen silent after the Timestream Entanglement. It was under control of Ultron. They decided that that's where Extron must be, and they need to stop him. And now, things have gotten much worse for the entire multiverse. If you recall, the Cerebro helmet isn't just giving him powers of chronal energy and time manipulation. This helmet was created with Wanda's chaos magic, specifically with the goal of locating mutants in other realities and other universes. If Extron can master his control of Chronovium energies, that chaos magic will be able to open portals in universes beyond our own, creating an unstoppable mechanical multiverse. Back on Krakoa, the heroes were already planning their attack. Long ago, Krakoa used to be a larger island known as Okara. The mutants were forced to separate the island into two, Krakoa and Arakko. One island remained on Earth, trying to maintain a peaceful civilization with humanity, while the other was sent to Mars to protect this solar system from attackers. The goal that the mutants now had was to send the avatar of Krakoa into Arakko. If it can reach the center tree of his sister island, then a natural reboot would occur, getting rid of any and all outside material infecting it. Without the power of Arakko, hopefully Extron could then be defeated. This was all well and good, but Tony Stark didn't think it was enough. Ultron was able to beat everyone on Krakoa because nobody could think fast enough. Human limitations were just too slow for a machine. But he knew of a device that could think faster than humans. And so, despite the other heroes warning him of the dangers, Tony found the old body of the machine formerly known as Ultron, and resurrected it, with numerous firewalls and AI such as Friday keeping it in check. Hopefully, with a mind that can think almost as fast as Extron, they'll stand a chance with this invasion. Sadly for the heroes, a traitor was amongst them. Doom 99 had predicted this to happen, and he had a promise to keep. So once the avatar of Krakoa was on Arakko, he started his own devious plan. Doom would take the massive amounts of chronal energy located within Krakoa's avatar and use this energy to delete Extron from existence, which would include all of Extron's army, his infections, and all of the metallic surfaces he created. This would damage and severely wound Krakoa and Arakko, but Doom didn't care. His promise to Emma of getting rid of the poison would be complete, as all of the chronal energy within Krakoa would be taken from it, and he would have plenty of chronal energy left for future uses as well. But there's one factor Doom 99 didn't calculate. When he deleted Extron from the universe, there was one more body left. The Ultron that we can now play as is no longer in the same database as Extron, and as Doom 99 was fighting off the rest of the heroes, Ultron used the distraction to sneak up unnoticed and stabbed Doom 99 with his techno-organic virus. But instead of piercing through the flesh bag of Victor Von Doom, he stabbed a Doombot that Doom 99 sent in his place, as the real Doom was safely in Latveria. As the Doombot's powers diminished, Doom's voice rang through the intercom, warning that my visions of the future have come true, just as I had seen. All of the power that Doom possesses are unable to change the future, and while they may have defeated Extron, my vision of Ultron still remains. This Ultron may be good for now, but time always finds a way to correct itself. So with Extron and Doom 99 defeated, they head back to Krakoa, and just as they were finally getting some levity, Adam has a vision of a terrible darkness reawakening that will corrupt the universe. The heroes learn that Null is on the rise yet again. Now that we've gone over the first 2 seasons of Rivals, I want to point out the subtle differences between the 2 Dooms. Present Doom is more of the classic villain, while Doom 99 is more of an anti-villain. Present Doom, who is slightly more responsible for causing the Timestream Entanglement, is trying to gain power, and he will do it ruthlessly. He will set up and create nightmarish problems, like manipulating Dracula into creating the Eternal Night so that Doom can get his hands on the Darkhold and gain more power. But Doom 99 already has plenty of power. He already lives in a universe where he has tons of influence over the timeline because of the public eye surveillance network. He doesn't need to create harmful situations to gain power. Instead, Doom 99 is like a vulture. He is observing the chaos of the Timestream Entanglement and looking for opportunities to take advantage of other catastrophic events around him. In this season, he even steps into more of a hero role, trying to stop Extron. His motivation is probably because he doesn't want to lose power on his timeline, but he still stops an evil threat, while trying to squeeze out as much benefit for himself in the process. So overall, the 2 Dooms are slightly different. Both are untrustworthy, both will scheme to gain power, but they are doing it in 2 different times with slightly different motives. Anyway, let's move on and see if this pattern holds true in future seasons, starting with The Abyss Awakens. We head now to the Mosaic universe and return to Clintar, the prison planet built to stop one thing from escaping, the essence of darkness, the King in Black, Null. Null's plans have not changed. He still wishes to break free of his imprisonment and cast all of life into darkness, but this time he has corrupted a powerful god who can assist on the physical realm. His Queen in Black that will turn the tides of battle is the one and only Hela. Back in Season 0, Null had sent a small symbiote to Hel to entice her, and after she had learned that Null is returning, she has decided to leave Loki's control of Yggdrasil to investigate what Null has to offer. He offers her eternity in ruling by his side, as they kill the universe, sending all of the souls into her domain. As she helps spread the darkness at a rapid pace, we turn our attention to Jean Grey, who recently heard Magneto's call and was slowly making her way back to Earth. But that's when the Phoenix Force detected a terrible event. A planet was fading into the void. Jean Grey and the Phoenix rushed over to that planet to save it. They barely succeeded, but it was a minor victory, as this was happening all across the cosmos. They figured out it was Null escaping, and the Phoenix Force allowed Jean to head into the divine space to fast travel across the universe. As they did, they found gods corrupted by Null's essence that were there to stop Jean Grey. The Phoenix Force was able to cure those gods, including Bast, who could finally return to Wakanda. But we have another hero who has been sleeping for far too long. Shuri got message from the Guardians that Null was awaking yet again. She wasn't able to do much this time, but she had one hero by her side that had been resting far too long. Blade's very vitality was drained by Dracula in Season 1. It was drained so much that he had been resting at Wakanda ever since. And now, it's finally time to rise up and join the fight. The Phoenix was the first to arrive on Clintar. Ready to put an end to Null, there was one thing standing in her way: Hela. Hela's Asgardian powers combined with Null's symbiotic primordial strength was too much for Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force to handle after they just spent all of their energy fighting the gods and traveling the universe. So, to avoid being defeated, the Phoenix Force protected itself inside the Phoenix Egg, and this is the state of the battlefield as the rest of the heroes arrived on Clintar. Hela and her symbiotic army were battling the heroes as the heroes figured out a game plan on the spot. Unfortunately for them, the Phoenix Egg was burning through Clintar's surface, which would lead to Null having an easy route to escape. Two plans were formed: remove the egg from Clintar, or hatch the egg early and have heroes absorb its power, which might help them defeat Hela. The second option ended up happening, creating the Phoenix 7. But this did end up burning a chasm into the planet, which meant they had to bring their fight to Null's throne and come up with a new plan. Also, as a side plot, Venom was captured by Null as soon as Venom landed, and Eddie was separated from his symbiote. In his character story, some of the symbiotes were released from Null's control because of Jeff's song. Long story there. But the symbiotes went and rescued Eddie and brought him to his symbiote. Venom then found a fragment of the Phoenix Egg shell and absorbed it, leading to the really cool skin of Venom's Phoenix Force. Also, Blade did a similar thing where his sword, the Dracula sword, absorbed the Phoenix Force, making him able to slice easily through symbiotes, but he was still defeated by Hela and retreated to regain energy. Now, we have an interlude. Is either of the Dooms part of this story? Well, not really. But Reed has noticed that Doombots from both of the Dooms were collecting fragments of the Phoenix Egg and Phoenix Feathers and taking samples of symbiotic goop. They weren't helping, they weren't hurting anyone, but they were there. Reed Richards sent a dire warning to Doom, telling him that the world will not show sympathy towards the Dooms, specifically the present Doom, as that's the universe Reed is from. If the Dooms simply scavenge power as the heroes save the universe, there will be no sympathy for them. But the Dooms don't seem to care much, and end up staying out of the way this season. As the heroes brought the battle to Null, Hela defended the surface, and Null moved towards escape. The heroes were spread too thin to manage a victory, as they were fighting two powerful opponents. They needed to deal with Hela so that they could then focus entirely on Null. Luckily for them, Blade had already fought and lost to Hela 2 times, but he kept learning more from those battles. And this time, he had a plan. He let Hela think she had the upper hand against him, but it was a trap. With blinding speed, he closed the gap and bit her neck, taking her blood and a fraction of the symbiotic powers from Null. With the powers of Dracula's sword, his mother's memory, the Phoenix Force of creation, and the symbiotic force of destruction, he finally had enough leverage to put up a fight and stand against Hela. Hela, who was slowly becoming overpowered as other heroes came to Blade's defense, realized that she would be defeated, so she fled, scared of what Null will do to her if Null actually succeeds. So now, the heroes advance on Null and his throne, and they need to find a way to stop him. Jean Grey and the Scarlet Witch realize that their powers complement each other quite well. The Phoenix Force, being the essence of burning life and creation, can mix very well with the true chaotic powers of the primal pandemonium that Wanda controls. They join their powers to stop Null, but he is too strong. He slowly defeats hero by hero, and as Wanda lays on the ground, almost unconscious, she uses her combined powers to cast one last spell, a protection spell on the one hero that Null was scared of from the beginning, Venom. Venom is a unique symbiote because of how strong the bond is between the symbiote and the host. This bond has frightened both Null and the Necrosword, which is why they imprisoned Venom. Now, with the power of the Phoenix Force and the protection of chaos magic, Venom attacks Null 1 versus 1. The Necrosword, being the first symbiote, is actually fearful of this combination. But slowly, over the course of the fight, Venom starts to falter. The essence of destruction, the King in Black, the power of Null is too much for any combination of heroic powers. But this assault was the distraction. The Phoenix is a powerful force that cannot be killed. When it dies, it instead goes to the white-hot room, a plane of existence that recharges the essence of life itself to start again. Then it is reborn into the world. How will this help? Well, Rocket and Jean have come up with a plan, but needed Venom to distract Null. Back in Season 0, in order to escape Clintar, Rocket, Star-Lord, and Groot used some Naga Band bracelets, which is Captain Marvel tech, to switch location with a Celestial's corpse. This is actually why Null started to escape again, because within the Celestial was the Necrosword, and that brought enough power back to Null to corrupt more gods like Hela. But Rocket theorizes that if they can somehow get Null into the white-hot room of creation, the essence of creation will burn his darkness, ending him once and for all. After Null defeated Venom and became a bit too confident, Jean Grey recklessly attacked Null as a final hero's stand. But Null, in all his strength, grabbed the Necro Sword and stabbed it straight through her, killing Jean Grey. At that moment, Rocket activated the Naga bands that Venom secretly attached to Null during his fight. Wanda then used her Chaos Magic with her new Phoenix Force powers to guide the signal into the white-hot room, and that formed a connection with Jean Grey's Naga band. The teleportation is successful, and now Null was stuck in the white-hot room. As the heroes healed Jean Grey to make sure she would not fall, they were certain that Null was defeated for the last time. In celebration, the heroes hoped to finally have a moment of rest, but of course, they would not find one, as Iron Fist informs them that Present Doom is making an attack on the Heart of Heaven, and his immortal beast's chi energy is at stake. We end this story with Hela looking for sanctuary from Null's power. She finds herself in Kunlun, in the secret 8th city, which is currently a refuge for those who are lost. Dietzong, a man who will become very important, is the keeper of this city, and despite Hela's evil heart, he offers her a second chance. Eventually, Hela feels Null's corruption fade away as Null is defeated, and she demands to be set free. But Dietzong did not offer her a place to live guilt-free of her crimes. He offered her a second chance, and that must be earned, not demanded. So, Hela was kept in Kunlun, stuck, where another hero is now on the hunt for Hela to enact revenge on what Hela did to her own half-sister. Overall, Season 3 is a very chock-full season. It had a lot of last stands between Null and the heroes, making it fairly hard to condense into a simple explanation. Sadly, for us bookworms who love the lore, the seasons from here on out become slightly lighter, and they may even feel half-baked. But that won't stop me from explaining them, as they are still very entertaining. And now, Iron Fist finally has his moment to shine in the spotlight, with Season 4, Heart of the Dragon. We now shift to the 7 cities of heaven in the collapsing timeline. 3 crucial events happened during the Timestream Entanglement. One event will introduce the setting, and the other 2 events introduce the newcomers to Season 4. Most importantly, we have the 7 capital cities of heaven. Kunlun is one of these cities, and that is the home of Iron Fist. It is also home of Shao Lao, who is the immortal beast that Iron Fist gets his powers from. Together, they are tasked with protecting their city and its peoples. But when the Timestream Entanglement rushes over their home, it converges Kunlun with the other capital cities. When this happens, they are now known as the Heart of Heaven. To make matters worse, the other immortal weapons have disappeared, all except Iron Fist and the King of Orphans. Sometime after the Timestream Entanglement, the King of Orphans is soon disappearing, and he needs to make sure that a little child is protected. So he steals a fruit of immortality from Kunlun's capital city. Iron Fist rushes after him, but when he learns that the King of Orphans is trying to save a small angelic child, he decides to learn from the King of Orphans and chooses to protect the child after the King of Orphans disappears, leaving Iron Fist as the only protector of the Heart of Heaven. Next up, we have Angela. Angela was born in Asgard, but the Queen of Heaven stole her as a child. Thinking his own child was dead, Odin exiled Heaven from the 10 realms, no longer considering them a reality that he had to protect, leaving Angela to be mourned and forgotten by all of Asgard. But Angela was not dead. She was raised as an angel, treated as a daughter of the heavens. She became one of the fiercest warriors. Eventually, she was the right hand to the queen. And over time, Heaven and Asgard were once again in okay relations. While Angela isn't a big fan of her brothers, Loki and Thor, she has a lot of hope for her baby sister, Lausa. Lausa is not yet contaminated by Odin's poor parenting. Currently, Angela is taking care of Lausa and having a nice walk with her in heaven. But Hela's corrupted Asgardians appear in heaven and steal Lausa. Uncertain of why, Angela gives chase, but at that moment, the Timestream Entanglement erupts, sending heaven into the collapsing timeline. In this timeline, the gods and demons are at war, and heaven, which, by the way, is different from the 7 cities of heaven. So, Angela's heaven is different from the 7 cities of heaven. Anyway, the angels of heaven have a lot of casualties, including the queen. Now, her fiercest warrior, the right hand, will take the place, meaning Angela is now the queen of heaven. After a long time at war, Angela finally feels that her home is safe, and now she must chase after Hela to find and save baby Lausa. During the war, she met Magic, who was able to send Angela through limbo portals to return to the Asgardian timeline in the present Chronoverse. There, Angela follows a lot of different breadcrumbs, checking multiple locations, including the 9 realms, where she learned that Hela was trying to corrupt the black dragon, Nidhogg. She quickly went to the World Tree, where Nidhogg lives, but she found only a raven of Odin. That raven informed Angela that Hela recently went to Clintar to take over the universe, but Hela retreated. Finally, Angela checks Hela's realm, Hell. I don't know why she didn't go there first, but anyway, Hela wasn't there either. That's when, on the shores of corpses, she met a fallen warrior. This was Danny Rand, the previous Iron Fist, still fighting to protect others. Danny informed Angela that he believes Hela is in Kunlun. Danny gives Angela a shard of his chi energy that can guide Angela to his home. And as that happens, some angelic Asgardians descend and take Danny to rise up to Valhalla. Angela rushes to Kunlun, where she sees a warrior in similar garments of Danny Rand, and he smells like Lausa. She rushes to him, ready for battle, but Lin Li, Iron Fist, quickly de-escalates the battle and explains that they are protecting Lausa, and they have a big issue that hopefully Angela can help them fight. This is where we will now shift into the main story, as there is a lot that Lin Li needs to explain to Angela. When the Timestream Entanglement hit Kunlun, not only did it merge the cities into the heart of heaven and cause most immortal weapons to disappear, it also did something to Xiao Lao. For whatever reason, he was frozen in time, appearing to be slumbering, and when Iron Fist decided to travel across the multiverse protecting other realities from vampires, robots, and ancient gods, Kunlun and Xiao Lao were now defenseless. That is when Victor Von Doom of the present timeline approached, for he had knowledge of a tradition that was secretly broken, and he intended to claim the chi energy of the slumbering dragon for himself. But luckily, the heroes got word of this and rushed to Kunlun. Lin Li and friends brought the Tablet of Iron Fist, an ancient record of the traditions, rules, and powers of Xiao Lao's blessing, and brought it to the immortal beast. Once there, they performed the rites of Iron Fist to reawaken Xiao Lao. Now that all of the heroes and Xiao Lao were ready to defend Xiao Lao's chi, Present Doom had a change of plan. He did believe that he could defeat all of the heroes and Xiao Lao combined, but it would take too much time and effort, and it's a little risky. He might lose something. So instead, he challenged Xiao Lao to the Shanglong trials and exposed Lin Li's deception. You see, once an Iron Fist passes away or retires, the Shanglong trial is the ancient tradition that Xiao Lao uses to select his next Iron Fist. It was a duel between the challenging warrior and Xiao Lao himself. A duel in which the warrior must defeat Xiao Lao by punching into the dragon's heart and taking the chi energy for themselves. This will make them the next immortal Iron Fist. But Lin Li's story is different. Lin Li was a strong warrior, one with an ancient weapon inside of him, the Sword of Fuxi. He had this powerful relic inside of his arms, and he had martial arts powers that he learned while protecting that sword. He was full of potential, but he was a bit ambitious and took on more than he could chew. That reckless choice left him lying on the shores of Kunlun on the brink of death, and that's where Xiao Lao noticed him. The immortal beast was desperate to find a new immortal weapon, and he saw the potential within Lin Li, so he didn't let this life go to waste, and Xiao Lao willingly gave up his chi to Lin Li, saving his life. Doom had somehow heard of this blasphemy and called them out in front of all of the heroes and bystanders in the middle of the heart of heaven. Doom challenged Xiao Lao to the Shenglong trial, where he would defeat the dragon, one-on-one, the right way, and Doom would claim the Qi energy and become the legitimate 67th Iron Fist. Doom is clever, but so is Xiao Lao, and Doom may have researched the traditions of Kunlun, but Xiao Lao wrote them, and there is a very, very uncommon occurrence in the texts of the Book of Iron Fist, one that has never been acted upon. Normally, the 7 cities of heaven merge into the heart of heaven every 88 years. This is a celebrated moment where the 7 cities, the 7 immortal beasts, and their 7 immortal weapons join together for celebration. And because of the Timestream Entanglement, this has happened early and more long-term. And there isn't much celebrating going on, as so many people and all of the immortal weapons other than Iron Fist are missing. But there is an additional rule to the Shenglong trial. If the Shenglong trial is proclaimed during the Heart of Heaven, the other immortal beasts can send their immortal weapons to join the fight in an attempt to steal Xiao Lao's power. This has naturally been avoided, as if the tournament would happen during the convergence of the cities, another immortal beast could steal the power from Xiao Lao, making that immortal beast a dominant figure over the other 6 cities. But now, because Doom is a much larger threat, enacting this forgotten tradition is possibly the only thing that can save Xiao Lao and the rest of the universe. Lin Li believes that this is nothing but good news, because the immortal beasts would choose their immortal weapons. Xiao Lao can choose Lin Li, and the rest of the immortal weapons are missing, so it should be a simple way to prove that Lin Li is worthy. But Xiao Lao explains that this is not that simple. Because the other weapons are missing, the 6 other immortal beasts can choose brand new champions to enter in the place of the weapons. And they have plenty of heroes from across all of the Chronoverses to choose from. So, let's find out who was chosen to partake in the tournament. I might mispronounce some of these names, so I will have their text written on screen. I'll do my best. Xie, the unicorn hybrid from Exgambo, selected Storm as the new Queen of Orphans. Bayu, the tiger beast from Tiger Island, selected the fierce warrior Angela to be her, Tiger's beautiful daughter. Zheng Yao, the 9-headed tortoise who usually hides in the mist of the Panglai Islands, has selected someone who embodies the natural spirit of his island. Groot. Shan Zizu of the Kingdom of Spiders has selected an assassin as deadly as a Black Widow. That kind of gave it away. The new Bride of 9 Spiders is Black Widow. Hrodo, the canine of the Undercity, has chosen a feral fighter to be the new Dog Brother X, Wolverine. Finally, Kunzi, the colorful crane mother, has a bit of a story to tell for their choice in champion. At first, Doom was going to be their choice, but the decision to leave him out of the competition came quite easily. It was too dangerous to allow him to compete, so the crane mother chose someone who could blend in and who has maternal instincts. Invisible Woman was going to be her champion, but with some magical deception and clever convincing, Loki has stolen her spot. Why? Well, Doom had approached Loki with an offer. If Loki could get himself into the tournament and win the dragon's chi, Doom would give him a reward, and Loki got to choose what that reward would be. Loki asked for a single feather of the Phoenix. If he could acquire a feather as powerful as the Phoenix Force, he could take his Chronovium sap from the World Tree and rewrite history with that powerful quill. Loki had seen Doom scavenging during the events of Season 3's storyline, so he knew that Doom had some in his possession. Doom accepted this offer. Knowing what reward would be available to him, Loki approached the Crane Mother and convinced her that he would be able to win the tournament for them both. And when he does, he will give the Crane Mother a phoenix feather, a deal Loki intended to break. Fooled by this lie, the Crane Mother accepted and announced Loki as her champion. But the surprise on everyone's face when Ditsong, the ruler of the secret 8th city, walked into the Shenglong arena to announce his own participation was something else. The 8th city used to be ruled by the immortal beast of Yinglong, but because of a conflict between the slippery black dragon and his brother Xiao Lao, Yinglong and his city was banished and forgotten, and forced to be a prison for all of the criminals and monsters of the other 7 cities. Now for decades, Yinglong was trapped in hell, lost to the power of the beast, but all that changed because of one man on an endless war against evil. Matthew Murdock is a lawyer by day and vigilante by night. Both Matthew and Daredevil are fighting for those with no ability to defend themselves. He may be blind, but he can sense everything around him, making him an excellent crime fighter. But when the Timestream Entanglement happened, his New York was sent into the collapsing timeline, and one by one, he lost everyone he loved. Karen Page, Foggy, Spider-Man, Frank, everyone. And it was because of the Hand and their devotion to the Beast. So, Matt Murdock, with nothing more to lose, descended into hell, fighting off the ninja cult that worships the Beast. And eventually, he defeated the Beast itself. But, as the dying screams of the Beast ended, the cackling screams and laughter of other demonic entities rose to take its place. All the work he did to stop the suffering, all of the sins he committed to stop all of that pain, was for nothing. The pain would just continue. And that's when Yinglong spoke to him. Yinglong was one of the many powerful entities that the Beast had consumed, and if Daredevil would accept a deal, they together could end the cycle of pain. Yinglong wanted Daredevil to help him return the 8th city of heaven back into its rightful place, and in return, Daredevil would be empowered with Yinglong's chi, and they could fight off all of these other demons together. Skeptical at first, Matt decided it was a necessary evil, but we may soon realize that Yinglong's request might be for the wrong reasons. However, once they arrived at the 8th city, Matt, as always, did his best to defend those that had no one else. Here, Daredevil became Ditsong, protector of the lost. He turned the city from a prison for monsters into a refugee from war, a place where anyone can go to find peace from the war or to find redemption in themselves. This place, just like Matt, believed that everyone deserves a second chance. Just like Matt deserves a second chance from his cruel sins, Hela deserves a second chance from her evil takeover, and even maybe Yinglong deserves a second chance. They should have the chance to try again and become a better person. So when Ditsong announced his participation as Yinglong's lost champion, and announced the 8th city will return, Xiaolao was not pleased. His power could not go to the immortal beast that he once banished centuries ago. But secretly, they weren't joining the tournament for the chi. They needed something else. A long time ago, the master of Yinglong was sealed away forever. The master's name is Chiyo, an ancient god that Yinglong says can restore the balance of the universe and end all of the wars that are collapsing this collapsing timeline. But to break Chiyo out, there is only one weapon capable of destroying the seal of banishment, and that is the sword of Fuxi, the very sword stuck in Iron Fist's arms. So far, Matt Murdock has enjoyed his conversations he's had with Iron Fist. Lin Li even helped Matt take care of baby Lausa after the King of Orphans saved her from Hela's grasp. But Matt suspects that Lin Li will not give up the sword willingly, so he must be prepared to rip it from him in the tournament. The stakes have been set. Many heroes are fighting in the tournament to make sure Doom doesn't pull any more schemes to take Xiaolao's chi. But Loki was sent in working for Doom, and Daredevil has a secret plan to release a banished god. Who will win? What will happen? Well, the tournament's been delayed, and while the reason is unknown, the Grand Master is happy. The Grand Master sends a letter to Xiaolao, revealing that he enjoys watching the Shenlong trial every time it happens, and he was pleased that the delay will allow him to deal with his own business before the tournament takes place. As a token of the Grand Master's appreciation, he gives Xiaolao a playing card that has part of his chi infused into it. The Grand Master would usually keep this card for keepsakes, but he figures it belongs with its owner, and maybe the dragon would repay this favor in the future. While it is a bit disappointing that the main conflict that has been building this entire time won't happen yet, the characters that were set up were very detailed and has a lot of lore. And it also is a cool setup for a very interesting tournament plotline. Plus, this last gallery card sets up the Grand Master's current conundrum. And now, at the 1 year mark, while I don't have all of the Season 5 story yet, let's go over everything we know so far. In Season 5, Love is a Battlefield. We return to Krakoa. Everyone is excitedly getting dressed for the wedding of the decade between two mutants. Gambit and Rogue are getting married and nothing can ruin this wonderful celebration. Of course, that's when the Timestream Entanglement hits, causing Krakoa to go launching into the future. And the wedding rings of Rogue and Gambit got swept away in the temporal time stream as well. On the other side of time, in the 2099 Chronoverse, Gambit was upset that the special day he had planned for him and Rogue was ruined. So he planned a honeymoon across the stars for the two of them to travel from planet to planet and see all of the amazing wonders of the galaxy. Rogue deserves the very best, after all, but there was an obvious problem. Krakoa was shifted into a brand new world, and many mutants like Cyclops, Charles Xavier, Beast, and more went missing. Additionally, Araka went silent. How could two of the remaining X-Men, one of which was an extremely powerful X-Men, just leave with all of these problems happening? Well, Gambit proposed that he and Rogue could spend this honeymoon tour as a way to benefit mutant kind. They could take Krakoan seedlings, these magical little creatures that were sprouting up, and plant them at important places they visit. These seedlings would sprout into Krakoan portals that would help mutants find their way back home, and it would allow those on Krakoa to travel quickly from across the galaxy if something would go wrong. So, with the Quiet Council's approval and the starship of Storm's bow, T'Challa, Rogue and Gambit sent off in celebration. But not all was as it seems. Gambit had a secret heist he was hoping to keep secret from everyone, including Rogue. You see, during the planning stage of this honeymoon, Gambit was approached with a deal from the Grand Master, an elder being of the universe. If Gambit would steal a contract from the Grand Master's fellow elder, the Collector, then the Grand Master would give Gambit a new pair of wedding rings made from a Chronovium die. Now, Chronovium dice are important because when they are rolled, the owner of the die can choose the outcome. And that's pretty cool, especially for Gambit's persona. But also, the Grand Master would allow Gambit and Rogue to end their honeymoon in the Grand Garden, a very remarkable and romantic setting. Now, why does the Grand Master want this contract? Well, we don't know exactly what the contract is, but we do know that it is signed by Von Doom. Obviously, we could assume that it's Victor Von Doom, but we don't know whether it's Doom 99, present Doom, or maybe it could be a relative of his. We are only told that it's signed by a Von Doom, but we still don't know what that means. Speaking of Doom, while the main season story follows Gambit, Rogue, and the Grandmaster's heist, what is Doom doing? Well, Doom 99 is having Chronovium visions of someone he used to know. A long time ago, he gave up his memory to obtain more power, and now he is randomly having visions and hearing this woman's voice. He doesn't know who this woman is. Could it be the Von Doom that signed the contract? We don't know, but Doom 99 is trying to figure it out. And eventually, when the time came to perform this heist, Gambit got out of bed and left Rogue sleeping in the Grand Gardens. But unbeknownst to him, Rogue was well aware of his plans. And Magneto also was suspicious, so Magneto was waiting in the Grand Gardens to protect Rogue and Gambit, assuming everything would blow up in their faces. While we don't know exactly what goes wrong or the specifics of what this contract is, or what the Grand Master wants with it, we do know that the mutants end up battling the Grand Master's goons in the Grand Garden, and for some reason, Rogue is not allowed back on Krakoa. She cannot step foot on its soil. I presume that some of Rogue's powers have taken some of the power primordial of the Grand Master, and if she returns, Krakoa will become part of the Grand Master's domain for him to play games in, but that's just a theory. Arrive! Okay, and with that, we have covered it all. All of this, everything we've explained in this video, has been the first year of Marvel Rivals lore. This project has been a big deal for me. So if you enjoyed the video, please like the video, and if you want more, subscribe and stay tuned for more Marvel Rivals. It would be really, really helpful for both of those things. It means a lot. I hope that the story of Marvel Rivals continues to be intricate and interwoven, as I believe that is what gives it so much charm. Each character comes from a different background, different worlds, they have different motives, different characterizations. Now, I know I haven't been able to touch on everything. There are so many interactions between characters that might be foreshadowing future events, but I wanted this video to be about the confirmed lore. However, I can't help myself, and at the end of this video, I want to throw out some possible plot lines that have been foreshadowed. So let's talk about some of them. Moon Knight and Magic talk about Apocalypse. Magic is one of the horsemen for Apocalypse, and I assume this will take place in the collapsing Chronoverse, but I don't really know. Additionally, there is a new voice line where Gambit talks about Apocalypse as well, so this is probably coming sooner than we think. Another plotline that I barely touched on is that Namor wants to invade the overworld of his home planet in 2099. He threatens both the mutants and Jeju Island, which again is where Luna Snow is from. Additionally, I hope we have more Asgardian maps in Yggdrasil. If Loki gets the Phoenix Feather, it could be really cool to have a new timeline or a new Chronoverse that Loki rewrites. Maybe something could go wrong with his writing and spell, and the entire world is a mixture of all the other Chronoverses and all the other maps. I don't know, that could be fun, maybe. Maybe it would be too chaotic, I don't know. And tied to that, I can only hope that we go back to Kunlun to finish the tournament. Oh, and also, maybe Hydra ends up releasing Hive across the world. That could be a plot line, maybe. I mean, there's only one Hydra map. I think it's the only setting in the game that is a solo map now. Maybe they would go back to that. Finally, I hope we get a Collector's Vault season. People leaked the Collector's theme park, and they kept saying, it's gonna be Season 4, and it's gonna be Season 5, and that's one of the reasons I don't trust rumors and leaks, and I don't like to theorize on them based off of leaks. But I must admit that theorizing is fun. But I want to say, none of what I am saying is confirmed. It's all just my ideas. Now, one of my fears is that they will continue to only focus on mutants in both story and new characters. I do think a lot of the mutants will be very fun characters, but I don't know if I'll enjoy the lore if it's focused so much on Krakoa and mutant kind all the time. There's so many different settings to explore, I want all of them to thrive. Now, mutants are really awesome. If they focus on mutants, it won't be that bad because they are incredibly interesting, but there is so much to the Marvel Rivals universe, and I fear it might get a little stale if it's only about mutants. Finally, what are your thoughts? Which season was your favorite? Was there an aspect or a side story that you think I should have mentioned? Let me know your thoughts on anything in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, and have a nice day. Also, please subscribe. This is, please, this was a lot. Like, this recording took like 3 hours. Holy moly, am I bad at talking into a microphone. Please subscribe. Marvel Rivals is now 1 year old. Marvel Rival 1 year old. Now that mean make video. Duh.